Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. As today, we're scrambling for some encrypted content. Namely, we've gotten word that the Gene Stealer cult that's infested our ship has apparently set up shop in the dynastic crypts, which I think was kind of vaguely alluded to all the way back at the beginning of the DLC, when we first talked to Confessor Adalbert, because I do remember at the time when he was talking about the dynastic crypts, wondering why we had crypts when it seemed like we had ejected Theodora's body out of the ship. But perhaps that will be addressed, I am curious to say. Also, we should be pretty much guaranteed for some combat here, which would be nice. And of course, I'm also curious to see who ends up being a traitor. You know it's coming. Big money's on Montag, of course, but Adalbert is still a possibility. I think Sourback's good, but, you know, we'll keep an eye out.
Is there money to be made?
Like, if Montag was here right now, that would be a pretty huge red flag. Adalbert, the ship's confessor, solemnly raises his hands above the altar and speaks mournfully. Heed me, O guardian spirits. We have come to punish a great desecration. Heresy has made its lair in the dynastic crypt and disturbed the peace of our honored dead. I beg you to perform the ritual of unsealing and allow us passage. A hand-shaped panel opens in the altar of unsealing. The panel is lined with sharp spikes. Lord Captain, we now require your blood. The crypt will not open without the rogue trader's genetic signature. Yeah, always happy to lend a hand. Jocasta, you and your people ready for this? Ready as never before, your lordship. They are incensed by this profane intrusion and eager to exterminate the menace before the eyes of our departed ancestors. My enforcers will secure the side sections of the crypt to prevent any flanking attacks. Good to hear. Adalbert, anything to add? May the Emperor protect his children who carry forth his cleansing flame. Hear the roar of chainswords and the bellow of autoguns, for they are his voice. Oft do I preach clemency to our noble officers, but this I say to you now. Lay aside pity and show no mercy. Well said. All right, let's give these guys the finger. The panel's mechanical teeth sting your flesh, and you feel your blood trickling down the small ducts into the altar's bowels. You hear a click, and the crypt doors open with a piercing creak. Beyond them, you see nothing but darkness. Sacrilege! The hallowed crypt must remain illuminated at all times to drive away the shadows from the place of the ancestors' final repose. This was done on purpose, I'm sure of it. Our coming is expected. Vanguard, provide the Lord Captain with Illuminator Servo Skull. She gives you a surprisingly easy smile and bows. Take care, your lordship, and watch out for dark corners. Move out! For House von Valancius! Your lordship, wait! There's been... Heinrich bursts into the ante-compartment and stops short when he sees the open doors and the gloom beyond. Damn it, I'm late. I meant to report an act of sabotage. They've cut off the Promethium supply to the crypt's lighting. You're walking into an ambush. Gosh, you don't say. And you thought to bring this up right after we sent our enforcers inside? They covered their tracks well, but I was worried about your safety. Heinrich smiles somewhat sheepishly. Which is why I took the liberty of sending maintenance patrols to inspect the perimeter of the crypt. Oh, did you? So you've got your people around the perimeter of the crypt right now. That's good to know. I appreciate your forthrightness. The officer bows his head with dignity. You notice fresh oil stains on his coat. It seems he not only sent his underlings, but also went to investigate the area himself. Yeah, that tracks. Well, Mr. Montag, we're still going in, ambush or no, because we literally have no choice. This has to be done. I fear we might be underestimating the enemy. The enforcers have already done it once. The Infernus Guild would join you in this fight, if you would have us. To get inside, the aberrations would have had to have made a passage for themselves somewhere in the crypt's perimeter. No one knows the maintenance tunnels better than us. We could find this breach and attack the enemy from the rear. I doubt a few workers armed with axes and torches will make much of a difference. But we would be honored to die in your name. Oh, Heinrich, buddy. You are really overplaying your hand now. You can't both tell me that they must have found some way to sneak in through the tunnels and then also tell me that no one knows the tunnels better than you and your people. Right after you also told me that your people were just in there. You know what, Heinrich, I appreciate the warning, I appreciate your zeal, but perhaps you'd best leave this part to the professionals. Well-meaning or not, real weapons in the hands of amateurs is a recipe for disaster. The last thing we need is some sort of tragic, coincidental, friendly fire incident. As you command. Please be careful, your lordship. I am certainly trying. The Infernus Master and his people leave the hall. The doors of the crypt are open. It is time to step into the darkness. Bye, Heinrich. Adalbert? Let your thoughts be as rays of his avenging light. As eternal night does fade at the touch of a sun, so let the faces of corruption that lurk in the darkness be destroyed by your hand. Well said. Okay, so nothing really suspicious with Adalbert. I feel like he's like 80% trustworthy. Honestly, at this point, given his lack of portrait, I'm a bit more concerned that he might end up being an expendable extra. Getting some real horror movie vibes here. The gates have been blocked to cut off all possible escape routes for heretics and enforcers alike. They will not open until your victory has been secured. Cool, so they'll just be funneled straight into Adalbert. That does seem efficient. Especially since the lift obviously hasn't been locked down. Heinrich demonstrated that pretty clearly. In the pale light of the lumen, the servitor looks like an animated corpse. But no grave will ever accept a human who has become a thing. Oh, I've got a bad feeling about this. Needle pistol shells are scattered across the floor. They do not belong in this realm of tranquil glory. Oh, are they using the sarcophagi as makeshift storage bins? Oh, nope, that's just a pair of gloves. I assume I'm prying off a dead body. Master Duelist's gloves. Whenever the wearer scores a critical hit with a range attack, their next attack cannot be avoided. Well, you know best to deprive the cult of such assets, I guess. I am curious about that, though. The wording is a bit ambiguous. Would I auto-hit with a follow-up range attack, or does it have to be melee? Hey, Bert. We are rogue traders, and ours is a rare destiny. Yet still we remember those who once walked at our side, who served us, whom we honored. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this might be where... This might be the resting place of the rogue traders' retinue, not the rogue traders themselves. Because, yeah, given the heavy usage of biolocks in high-security areas throughout the ship, having a rogue trader's corpse in the wild would be a massive security risk. Remember the deeds of the hero who died to protect the Lord Captain. Here lies Alaric Wolfgang of Gester, the first seneschal to have come on board this vessel. Your duty is done. Now others will serve in your stead. Oh, I wonder if Mort's down here somewhere. Poor Mort. There are large footprints in the dust, but the 2 feet are of different shapes. One human, and the other clawed and horribly mutated. Oh, also, look at that. That is really cool. They keyed the lumen skull to follow the mouse cursor. Yeah, we really have gone full horror game here. That is a very nice touch. They did such a great job with atmosphere in this game. These bones of the dead should be serving the living. They could be used in rites or divinations, or as amulets. Why are they here, gathering dust and concealed from people's eyes?
This statement is true. The remains could be usefully processed into corpse starch, and the premises refitted to house the vessel's systems.
Oh. Secret skull. And examine point. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Glory to the diligent servants of the dynasty, who have exalted the title of seneschal. Okay, that's probably fine. Adalbert, you good out there? I'm sure he's good. He's probably fine. Everything is probably fine. A black viscous substance resembling partially dried saliva is slowly eating through the surface of the monument. The skull gives in, and something clicks beneath it. Somewhere in the dark, a passage opens up with a rumbling groan. No directional indicators, so... Oh. Well, that's... This is new. And not at all unsettling. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, interesting. Did the servitors... Oh, actually, wait a minute. There's, Yeah, this is the one marked on the map. So this over here, this must be our secret door. The servitor is looking right at it.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Okay. Oh, interesting. All right. We're seeing weapon racks. Breacher's armor. High-end medium with extra armor and perception. Decent for a range fighter. Old key. Above the 100 different names is an engraved inscription. To all who made the highest sacrifice for the dynasty and paid with their life, honor, and name, I will remember you. Well, that is a very sweet gesture, but also may have very well armed our foes, though we're not seeing empty racks. I mean, these all still seem to be full, so perhaps they never found it. The sarcophagus was installed recently. The inscription reads, "Here Arch-Militant Mort keeps his eternal vigil, protecting in death the one he could not protect in life." Sorry, bud, you weren't long for this world, but at least you got another name drop. And a very nice crypt. Yeah, so the crypt is more for servants than for the actual rogue traders themselves, it would seem. The gate does not yield. The Luminator servo skull beam reveals the lifeless cable of the entry cogitator snaking into the dark. Oh, yes, so it does. That is very conspicuous. And just happens to take us back towards Adalbert. What a coincidence. The servitor is gone. Fresh pools of blood and embalming fluid drip down into some deep grooves on the floor that look like they were left by monstrous claws. And a very obvious trail. Wires protrude from the servitor's severed head, wrapping around a fragment of its spine. The broken jaw twitches frantically, struggling to shut. Bert, you guys good? Oh yeah, you're fine. Huh. Honestly, I'm surprised you even kept this door open. That does feel counterintuitive. Though now I have to wonder if there's a deeper meaning to that, or it's just... Okay, I think we're good here. Might do another lap just to be sure, but, let's see what lays beyond. Oh, shoot, it's a full-on transition point. Okay. One sec. And we're back. Okay, so, yeah. Full disclosure, this is a re-record. I had some audio issues, but, originally, I was fixated on this weird little blank spot on the corner here. But in looking closer at it, I guess it's just nothing. It's just a quirk of the display. But we did, however, find 2 other items of particular note. This, one of the decapitated servitors, which is loaded down with an enhanced power pick, these weird new medical kits that scale off Iconoclast, and a single stem. And then there's also evidence that these things were exposed to the Gene Stealer's xenomorph blood, which I think implies that these servitors don't belong down here at all, that they might actually be how the Gene Stealers breached the crypts. And then the other thing we found was this. A hidden mechanism inside this sarcophagi, which requires the old key we found in the armory. Once again, that triggers another secret door somewhere in the darkness, which it took me 10 minutes to find the first time around. I was really convinced it was in that little corner over there, but it turns out it was nearby. It was across the room, just over here. So, let's have a peek. Aeldari. At first glance, the sarcophagus depicts a man, but you can tell by the body proportions and designs of Xenos origin that an Aeldari is buried here. It is small wonder that his resting place was hidden from sight. The Xenos must have been someone important to one of the rogue traders. Child of Asuryan, doomed to spend an eternity alone amid the dust of Monkey. It is not my place to judge your choice of path, and yet my soul grieves. Do you not hear its cry? Turns out Yurliette's not nearly as unique as she might have thought. The Von Valancii apparently have a type, which nets us an Aeldari rifle, Dreams Infinity. Sadly, a bit inferior to her current Bane of Sorrow, aside from perhaps the armor pen. But then, more notably, we have the Secrets of the Forerunner, which grants a whopping +10 to all characteristics, as long as the wearer has at least one characteristic that's at 100 or higher, which it turns out we are actually very close to on multiple characters. So not quite there just yet, but within spitting distance for Abby, for Pask, for Cassia, and then perhaps most fittingly with Yurliette, who's just 5 points shy on perception. Though, you know, truth be told, a character like Cassia might make better use of it. Though I think ultimately it will really come down to whoever has the open slot for it. We're already at the point where most slots are hotly contested. That said, with our new prizes in tow, and audio I can actually use, let's push on. Actually, the pick-laden servitor might explain the spate of malfunctioning servitors in the plasma drive. Especially since we already know that's where they were salvaging materials for their webbers. Forward, faithful pure! Crush our enemies! Oh. Well, I mean...
Your kind has no right to exist.
Repent or perish!
Okay, I mean, interesting opening move. Certainly not something I would have predicted. Oh, and look at that. We've got, we've got the enforcers on our flanks. Nice. Aside from that, we've got expendable cultist cannon fodder, as evidenced by the chandelier trick. Oh, and Prey of the Ravenous Star. This creature is the nearest one to the Magus. It will be the next target of the Magus's telekinetic explosion ability. Oh, okay. Right, it's a delayed action area attack, which I guess would explain the scene that played out when we walked in. Right, so that had the dual purpose of both displaying the callous disregard the Magus has for his own men, but also to forewarn us of that particular ability. Something which we might be able to use against them. Also, they brought a cave troll. Though I am less concerned about that than I am about these. These strongholds of the aberrations. Which, just going off the name alone, sounds like an enemy spawner. Blind spot. Unit cannot target adjacent enemies. Unnatural solidity. Can only be damaged by potent telekinetic powers. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, that implies it actually... Oh, yeah, I guess it does attack. We've got a ranged attack here. Range 7 to 15. Huh. So less an enemy spawner and more like an entrenched bunker. Interesting, interesting. Not what I would have expected. Makeshift barrier, which we can apparently demolish. Gene stealers, no big deal. We've already taken out a few of those. And there's the big dog himself, the Magus of the Ravenous Star. Hunkered down in a plot armor dome. We've seen one of those before with Aurora version 1.0. Oof, yeah, this guy's a tank, even ignoring the dome. TK Explosion, we know that one, but then we have TK Impulse, which damages and knocks back all adjacent opponents, right? Aberration's Touch. Armor reduction on critical hit. Coordinated Trap. Okay, which grants a very complicated damage bonus under specific circumstances. But more notably, it also makes him immune to friendly fire. I think that's the main takeaway there. And then Combat Master, which, oh wow, okay. That just straight up makes him effectively immune to all of the most debilitating status effects. No stun, no immobilize, no prone. So, layers of plot armor. And then the telekinetic dome, which just makes him completely immune to damage from outside the dome. Oh, which is a really nasty combo with that telekinetic impulse. Though to be fair, based on what we're seeing here, it sounds like up until we breach that globe of invulnerability, it'll basically just stay hunkered down, popping telekinetic artillery shells at us. Which actually makes it very obvious what we have to do, or what we're supposed to do at least. I mean, in theory, we could just rush him. Yeah, we could pretty easily push past his cannon fodder. But the thing is, it would be risky because we'd be drawing constant fire from these invulnerable pillboxes on our flanks. So I think instead we'll do what they very clearly want us to do. And zigzag across the battlefield, baiting him into destroying the pillboxes, one at a time. Which should be pretty workable, but I think my big concern right now is that he's already preemptively targeted Yurliet, so do we need her? Oh shoot, we can't even place her right next to it, can we? So we'll get her as close as we can. Actually, no, that's way too risky. Better to just tuck her out of the way for the moment. If the Magus still targets her, we'll just have her move and then bait for next round. But ideally, what I'd like is if we can get the Magus to retarget Abby, who we can definitely get into base-to-base with that thing before it would go off, because, yeah, Cassia, as long as she has line of sight with him, can give him a free move. And then everyone else will just hang back, focus on clearing mooks. It's a little more time-consuming, but, you know, we might as well do it right. I'm sure we get more XP that way, too. Let's do this. Pass up first. Let's carve ourselves a foothold.
My vow is to serve.
Nerf that thing just in case. Thank you, Pask. Cass up next. First things first, let's get Abby where he needs to be. He'll just hug that corner until he gets targeted. Everyone else hangs back. Okay, yes, perfect. The Magus did indeed retarget. So that'll be our first bunker down, 1 round out. We'll spend that time thinning out mooks.
If I must.
The angel.
1 out.
Silent.
And I guess we've got the big guy back there, but I'm not too worried about that one.
If it serves your cause.
The Sire's song guides
Wow,
me.
now I'm even less worried. There is 0 chance he actually reaches us under his own power. Though, you know, we might have Cabela go to him. See what she can do with her new build. We just need to make sure she comes back after. So, no, actually, she could... Let me go ahead and clear these guys real quick. Gentlemen. These poor guys. They brought chain axes to a slugfest. Assuming I can actually draw a line of sight. There we go. Target's clear. Main downside being the 5-foot step. Oh, no, wait, I still have some line of sights. Probably won't get a kill, but we might get a stun.
Who if not me?
Yes, perfect. Stunned and hemorrhaging. They actually tagged Cabela. Good for them.
We bring deliverance.
What is the ringing?
Let's have Kibbles return the favor. Just need to make sure I ration out our blade jumps. She regains 1 charge per kill, so she can jump all she wants as long as she keeps killing. We just need to keep 1 in reserve. Oh yes, and then we also have to do this, which immediately takes a huge chunk off her health pool, which we will refill, but also in turn gives her like plus 30-something% on her damage output. Now we move up. Captive Audience. That'll charge her first blade jump with extra bleeding. Yeah, okay. Not great against the Aberrant, but we did tag him. We can work with that. Only 2 points left, so we need to make sure we end adjacent to the pillbox. Pain Resonance might blind the Aberrant. No, we'll go for defense.
Trust me.
If we're leaving her up front, she'll need to be sturdy. And see, normally, if we didn't need her to stay up here, I would have her acrobat her way back out. She would run back to where she started. But in this particular case, we just need her to dig in. I could have done that better, but it's fine. She's where she needs to be.
My blade whispers your name.
Plus, with Abby on backup, she should be just fine. Oh, no. Now I am hoping that Magus doesn't just retarget. If we actually have to hold for 2 rounds on each pillbox, then we'll just go ahead and push. Abby in place. Ooh, Webbers. But Abby evaded. Yeah, those might actually be a problem. We need to make sure we trim those.
Pain and duty go hand in hand.
Nice, nice.
Only the faithful
Bunker's
will
largely
ascend.
ineffectual thanks to positioning and Pascal's debuff. And Pask, moving up on support. Oh shoot, they are enemy spawners. Okay, noted. Doesn't really change my plan all that much. We can deal with some extra mooks. In fact, that'll just make Cabela even stronger. Oh shoot, though I'm now realizing we have new mooks near the first bunker as well, which still hasn't been TKO'd. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. One out. And we've got plenty of range support for the other. Speaking of which, Cass. Let's start bringing her around as well. And in fact, this will give Kibbles another chance to strut her stuff.
Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
Time to cut loose. Really get that blood going.
Caught by the web.
I mean, wish you hadn't wasted 2 charges on the stronghold, but at least we got Blade Jump back online. Ooh, also parceled out a fair bit of extra DOT. Very nice. Let's see if we can stack some more on top of that. Pull.
True believer.
Oh, wow. Well, I was trying to set Kibbles up for a follow-up strike, but at this point... this guy's so far gone, I'm not sure it's even really needed. Oh, you know what we actually could do is finally bank a bounty that's actually worth banking. Prime the pump with this guy. Nice. That gives her an auto crit on our next attack, which we will put into this guy, who we've already tagged with a bounty. Perfect. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that'll do it. Kind of wasted your follow-up there, but I guess you can't really be blamed if there's invulnerable foes on the field. Alright, well, just, hang tight. She's back up 2 counts out, so she'll get another go momentarily. Nice. Okay, first bunker out, second one painted. Bit of a slow start, but we should pick up from here. Let's lose the Webbers.
I understand your intent.
That's basically the one thing that can really kind of spoil our plan is if they actually manage to immobilize our melee.
We bring deliverance.
Like that. No, I think we're good. Move up. Let's go ahead and clear that sniper in back.
It's as good as done. I'll make it happen.
Target out. Target 2 pinged, stunned, and bleeding. Gene Stealer's on approach. And Kibbles. Let's get you clear. And once again, we want her to end her turn on Bunker 3. She has a single blade jump banked. Let's try this. Nice, nice. Oh, and look at that. Refuel. Silly Gene Stealer trying to get away. Nice. 2 more down. That's 2 more charges. Let's keep it going. I mean, we need to be careful, though. We do need to make sure she actually makes it back to Bunker 3. No, that's too messy. This works. Double effective DOT damage for the rest of combat. And flippity floop. Nice tag. Gene Stealer is about to drop. We still need to get her back. And we should keep at least 1 blade jump banked. Though she can recharge by killing this guy. Yeah, that's fine.
I shall not fail.
Gene Stealer out. Blade jump instantly recharged. And hold. I mean, in theory, I could have had her go for that last cluster. I just didn't want to risk...
Follow my lead.
I didn't want to risk having her get stranded out there. Because that would not be TKOK.
I will do my duty. Indeed.
Hold.
Aim for the heart next time.
Psh. Barely even made it through her attempts. Pask on the move. Lay down more support.
Running binary override. The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all.
That's fine. Oh, right. Let's clear this guy. This one's still got a Weber, I think. But first... Val?
Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
On it.
Didn't parcel out the points right, but target's still stunned, so no big deal. Last Weber clear. Second bunker busted. Which just leaves these Sarcopha-guise, who just got painted. So we're good to approach. Let's clear a path. And look at that, path's clear. So barring fresh spawns from this one last pillbox, I think we can just dogpile the big guy. Range attacks are useless for this, so anyone who can't get base to base is just on pure support. Oh, and yeah, let's go ahead and knock this out. That'll trim an extra turn off. Ooh, in fact, you know what? I didn't plan it out that way, but that is also perfect. Mind if I cut in? First blood. And blinded. Nice. Honestly, pretty modest compared to the heights I've seen that combo go, but still a halfway decent start. Yeah, I'm still trying to get used to Kibble's whole crazy combination of abilities. In retrospect, I actually now realize I completely blanked on her. Ow. Rude. She's also got those boots on that force push anyone who tries to opportunity attack her. So in retrospect, I should have had her skating past a lot of the melee guys just to deliberately provoke and layer more bleeding on top of them. Though I suppose for the most part, it might not have actually come up that much because there weren't a lot of melee guys on this fight. The Gene Stealers, the Aberrant, the Chain Axe guys, but there were only 4 of those and they went down pretty quick. Honestly, this is just kind of a weird fight for her in general because I've got her set to be a hit and runner, but instead she was
The navigator is coming.
hitting and then holding so we could force target those TK shots.
I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
But yeah, all things considered, you can definitely see she's a mite bit more impressive than she was during that previous bout. I actually do kind of like where she is right now. I can already think of a couple of things I could have done to further improve or hone her build, but at the same time,
Captain.
I like that there's stuff for other people in the party to do. I don't want any one character really just kind of dominating the field.
I feel nothing. Fear nothing.
Oh, wow, really? Okay, well, I mean, if that's really, really what you want to do, I guess that's just more impetus to finish you off in one fell swoop. Fortunately, we've got Kibbles coming up pretty quick, so let's see if she can get the job done. Though technically, I guess she still has 2 shots at it, since we also have Cass right after. 4 counts till blast off. We'll commit. Okay, so obviously that didn't kill him. But the important thing was to land all that extra bleeding. Between that and Carnival of Misery, she should have no trouble finishing him off with her next strike, which will be right before that TK goes off. Though, you know, doesn't hurt to hedge your bets a little. Abby, you want to get in on this? Yeah, he's super dead now. Back when I was testing this build, the Cassie Kibbles combo could easily clock in at like 400 plus damage. This poor guy's got less than half that left in the tank. Okie dokie. Time for Kibbles to do her bit. Just need to make sure I'm not overlooking anything here.
As the tenants demand.
Goodbye.
High momentum.
Smash cut. The old man before you resembles a human being, but the scaled, bony growths going from the bridge of his nose to the top of his bloated, hairless head, the grotesque cheekbones, and the black claws on his meaty fingers leave no doubt that this creature is a genetic aberration. He utters in a creaking voice, black spittle spraying from his mouth. "You have spilt the blood of the congregation. You have offended the purest of his chosen children. You heretic!" The creature's last word elicits a nervous laugh from the nearby enforcers. The irony of this embodied perversion of the human form accusing you of heresy is not lost on them. The confessor whispers a quiet prayer. The master-at-arms is watching the old man's every move, her lips twisted in contempt. Jocasta, glad to see you made it. How went the assault? Sourback's gaze remains trained on the mutant. You notice deep wounds on her chest and shoulder, but she shows no signs of acknowledging their existence. Strike forces have cleared the side sections of mutants. The freaks fought like madmen, but they could not match the skill of the Von Valancius enforcers. Once victory was secured, our pursuit units made sure that none would escape. Our flamer squads are in the process of purging the crypt. All degenerates confirmed dead. Glad to hear it. Fine work. Look, Jocasta, we may not always see eye to eye, but I will say that this, at least, I think clears you and your men of suspicion. I do still have some concerns about your methods, but we can work on that. She bows her head respectfully, and her expression relaxes. She responds with a weak smile. Thank you for restoring our honor, Lord Captain. Adalbert, glad to see you made it too. How's the rest of the crypt looking? You think it's salvageable? The accursed spawn have disrespected the spirits of the dead, but thankfully they did not have enough time to wreak as much destruction as they could have. Many tombs were disturbed, but what is the most outrageous? Adalbert carefully presents you with a sapphire blue gemstone. They sought to despoil Lady Theodora's urn. Oh, okay. You know what? That does track. Back in Act 1, the cutscene was kind of innocuous. I thought they were giving her like a burial at space or launching her into the warp or something. But in retrospect, given the tendency for us to use all these bio-locks for all the high security areas, in retrospect, launching it into the warp would have been silly. That would have been like literally delivering it to the arch enemy's hands. That would be the worst place to put it. After her ladyship's cremation, her ashes were made into this magnificent relic, an example of resilience and purity. One of the heretics dared to lay claim to it. Abelard stares at the gem with a crestfallen expression. His lips twitch as if he is struggling against a new wave of grief, or else enraged at the thought of someone so heinously violating Theodora's rest. He forces himself to look away without saying a word. Yurliette touches her spirit stone, and it resonates with a soft, pearly glow. They may appear similar, and yet, as bright as Monkey relics are on the surface, they are hollow inside. They hold no memory, no life. Yeah, that's usually how it goes when you're dead. So this is the fate that awaits a rogue trader? A lifetime of struggle and aspiration, only to end up as one more trinket for the Horde. That does seem fitting. Not all of them, no. Tradition demands that the Lord Captain's body be burned, so that no one could use samples of their tissue or blood to gain access to the ship's systems that require the rogue trader's genetic imprint. Lady Theodora herself once voiced her desire to be turned into a stone. Yeah, well, in light of what just happened and that gaping hole I see just off to my right, perhaps it's best if I hold on to this for now. If such is your lordship's wish, I see deep symbolism in this duty. Yeah, that's what it is. Symbolism, and not the innate desire for yet another bauble. Lady Theodora's immaculacy. Lady Theodora's ashes were subjected to immense pressure and turned into this resplendent diamond to be interred in the ship's crypt. The gemstone sapphire hues veined with gold and purple are reminiscent of the von Valancius family colors. From upper class to crystal cast, in a prism of her own making. Welcome back, Theodora. I'll put you to good use. The ashes of the other eminent dead whose rest was disturbed will be transferred to the Reliquary Chapel. Rites of redemption will be held day and night. Thousands of the ship's crew will be allowed to kneel before the relics and pray for the Lord Captain's health and the dynasty's prosperity. Alright, now let's see what the cult leader has to say, now that I realize he's apparently just been lying here listening to us this whole time, which does seem like a bad idea, but, what do I know? I'm just the Lord Captain. Hey, you still with us down there? You shall perish in the cold void. Your heart shall beat its last under the light of uncaring stars. Your lungs shall become trees of ice within your chest. You will never receive the grace of the many-armed Emperor. The old man calls curse after curse down upon you with spiteful satisfaction. Oh yeah? You gonna do all that from down there? The old man doubles over, but it is not pain or fear, but burning hatred that contorts his face. Go on, torture me. I'll endure it all. My time may be up, but you are all doomed. I will gladly spit the words of truth in your face, and they will burn you like acid. In death I will ascend to the hosts of pure voices, and I will await the day when you will pay for the shed blood of his children. Okay, well, fair enough, I guess. But before all that stuff happens, I had a few questions. You're obviously the guy who tried to sabotage our ritual, right? But your guy in the plasma drive implied you're not the cult's leader? You're some sort of herald. Do I have that right? The mutant erupts in wet, slurping laughter. I am the herder of the pure. The many-armed Emperor has blessed my mind with the ability to behold him, and I guided his children. Until you came and slaughtered us, heretic. Oh, you noticed. Their loathsome tribe has spawned a sorcerer. Sourback grimaces in disgust. No doubt to help them brainwash more victims and swell the cult's ranks. So what exactly are you? Mutant, Xenos? Or something in between? His face becomes a gloating grimace. We are the pure. We are the congregation, children of the many-armed emperor. The genetic perfection of existence. You will never understand. You are of inferior flesh. Your genes are woven from feebleness and misery. We are the new curve of the spiral. We are one. And thus, we are strong. Sure, yeah, you certainly look it. Pascal's visor flashes scarlet, growing brighter with every word.
This statement is false. Only the true flesh is perfect. You are a scrap of ignorant meat, and this vaunted genetic perfection, which you are not, will be ground into nothing but the cogs of the Omnissiah.
The old man shrinks and hisses as his face is bathed in the red light of the visor, itself framed by the shadows of writhing mechadendrites. As you can see, we've got a bit of a many-armed emperor of our own, but please, tell me about yours. The true God who comes through the void to us, his devout children. The universe is an abyss of horrors, and only he can save us. But not you, vile heretics. You are all doomed. I mean, yeah, sure. We're all doomed, eventually. Some just sooner than others. Some a lot sooner. Is that why you set up shop in this crypt? If so, I applaud your foresight. None wander in here. We were free to offer our prayers without fear of discovery, and the sight of dead heretics was pleasing. Trampling your bones was a righteous act. That is why I ordered the pure to sunder the walls of your bone vault and make this place a sanctuary for the congregation. He sneers. Oh, you know what? I bet that is where Einrich would have come through if we had given him permission. Interesting that he didn't come anyway. Makes me feel like the Magus here is just another sacrificial pawn. You glance at the gaping hole in the adamantine bulkhead. It is almost unbelievable that the mutants were able to make a hole like that. They would have required truly powerful industrial equipment, and not the kind that can be easily assembled or stolen. Right, the enhanced power picks. That does make sense. Which we know were being stolen from the lower decks. The one other power pick we found so far was in that storage room next to the giant picture of the Nemesite. Alright, okay. I think I've heard enough. He's all yours, Sourback. The man's face twists in rage and his milky eyes bulge. He hisses, "The many-armed Emperor cometh! The true God shall avenge us, and when he does, I will laugh!" His string of doomsaying is silenced by a kick from the Master-at-Arms. Big yikes. Oh, let's hope that doesn't get me demonetized. Lay waste to Heriox. The leader of the genetic aberrations who infested the dynasty's flagship has confessed that the despicable mutants had used the Heriox Rim trading station to launch their infiltration. Did he? I feel like I would have noticed that. The mutants are hiding on an ill-reputed trading outpost in the Pillars of Viridici. Do we know where that is? I feel like we missed a step here. But, I mean, fair enough, I guess. Alright, well, I mean, obviously we're running long here anyway. We've got the level up in the queue. So we'll just let future retcon worry about that. Plenty of other things to focus on in the short term. Let's collect our loot. Theodora's statue towers over the broken urn. Her gaze is confident and bold, as if she is challenging those who have dared disturb the rogue trader's rest. Bio Dagger. Decent damage, inflicts toxin, massive dodge reduction. Not to mention a stacking damage bonus throughout combat. Oh man. I would say that's perfect for Cabela, except it's not tagged as a sword. I'll have to go through all her powers, see which ones are specifically keyed off swords. And then, slightly less exciting, we get Bloodburner. A unique needle pistol. Decent damage for a pistol. Also inflicts toxin. Decent dodge reduct. And increases the strength of pre-existing DOTs. I mean, not terrible, but we don't really have any dedicated pistoliers, aside from maybe Jai.
I always keep my options open.
The hole in the wall seems to grin with broken teeth, as if mocking the dynasty's ancestors. It would be impossible to make a hole like that without industrial tools. Sure. Genetic aberration has sullied this temple of memory. I will conduct a vigil in the crypt to ensure that all corruption is expelled and the Emperor's light shines in his halls once more. Sounds good. I'll leave you to it. Still kind of on the fence with Adalbert. He's definitely nowhere near as monumentally suspicious as Montag is at this point, but it does seem weird. I mean, maybe I'm overthinking it, but it does feel a bit weird that he's the only other person who has real familiarity with the dynastic crypt. And this is where they just happen to have set up shop. Not to mention, he survived unattended in that entry corridor, even after those servitors were butchered and the thing was clearly headed straight for him. I don't know. Flamer squads have already been assigned to the side sections. Soon the Defilers' bodies will be nothing but ash piles. I won't stop until the last stain of this disease has been wiped away. Right, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're fine. Relatively speaking. Ooh, Faisaline. That's new. Looks like an upgraded version of the old force grenades. That's actually really nice. Not, I suppose, that we really end up using much in the way of grenades these days. I do keep thinking about picking up the grenade talent for various characters, but, you know, there's always something else that just ends up taking priority over it. Having that talent would make it a lot more likely I'd actually use them. The Defilers dumped the remains on the floor, then connected a water pump to turn the sarcophagus into a cistern. Sure, why not? Might as well. This sarcophagus belongs to the first rogue trader of House von Valancius. Merciless time has erased their name from the stone. Yeah, and then just boatloads of vendor trash. The sarcophagus has been turned into a container. Supplies, ammunition, and bandages lying in an unceremonious pile on top of the bones. The monument was shattered to give the defenders a better field of fire. Well, I'll say one thing. This should definitely be enough loot to bump us up to the next rank with, the Drusians. That'll let us finally bank that last colony project. This might actually even be enough to max out with the Kaspelikans. I think we're just like maybe 1,000 shy on them, which will just leave the pirates. Okay, wow. Yeah, that was quite a fight and quite a finale. Though apparently not quite the finale, since we do still have one more follow-up location for Act 2, which does put me on the fence on whether or not we should pick a fight with Marazai while we're here. I was kind of leaning towards doing it, but now I am not so sure. As far as traders go, I'll say I'm pretty sure on Einrich and the Vizier. Adalbert's a maybe. I don't know. I'm still on the fence with him. Probably not Forius. And I'm pretty sure Sourback's fine. You know, this is 40k. Of course, they'd make the grim, dark torture porn addict the one person you can actually trust. Which I suppose applies to Kibbles, too. I suppose not Forius, because, like, as our personal surgeon, I guess if he really wanted to infect us, we'd already be infected by now, so I'd say that airs him on the side of innocent. But then again, we haven't really figured out where he fits in with all this just yet. I mean, they must have introduced him for a reason. That said, we've run way too long, so we'll go ahead and put a pin in it here. We'll hit the pause button for now. I will take care of the usual off-screen bookkeeping, figure out what we're doing at these level ups, give this place another pass. And we will pick up here next time. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Eerie V23, Revenant, Alois, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.
Oh,